Welcome, everybody, to the greatest show where I get to show off the greatest people and have way too much fun doing it. My special guest today is the one and only Sue Cotter. Thank you, Sue, for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. The music really got me going.
It's really pumpy. So, I'm actually really looking forward to speaking to this topic and in a kind of a really new way. The title is Extreme Anxiety to a Leader for Possibilities. So I thought we could kind of start with your personal story a little bit, so people can kind of get a sense of that, and then we can go into so many other aspects of what's possible. So you have talked about being someone with anxiety,
Yeah.
and nervousness, and your words were even being afraid of your own shadow.
Yeah.
Which is so, I know you now, so to perceive that in you is kind of a beyond to even think that that was going on for you. So can you share, like, what was that like for you, and how did you really notice that affecting your life?
So, okay, anxiety, which I kind of, as a child, I really didn't know what anxiety was, but I was always nervous. And growing up, I was like, I'm the youngest of 7 children. So growing up,
Wow.
like I was like defined as the nervous one in the family, right? So everybody had their titles, and like I was always the nervous one. So, and actually, it's funny now because even as I'm saying it, my body is showing me excitement, right? And I know, right? Because I'm like, yeah, that, right? So as a child, I definitely noticed that, like, I was always just worried and always nervous about what was around the corner. So my body was always like shaking, and I was really, as I said, was afraid of my own shadow. And it really got to that place where it was like I was afraid to take a step. And when I would take that step, it was like, okay, I didn't even know like to take another one, to tell myself to take another one. I would check everything. I was like really super, super like hyper aware. And I would check, behind me, front of me, side by side, just in case. And it was always the energy of every step I took was, what if? What if something happens? And it was never really, Cassie, it was never really about like, what if I get killed? It was never that. It was always like, what if there was like a fight around the corner? What if like somebody came and frightened me, or something popped out of nowhere? And it was like, it really became the energy of where I was afraid of my own shadow, which really created where I really did not participate in a lot of things, like the way kids play and stuff like that. I always just wanted to be on my bike on my own, and just like go and just like go away, get away. And then I developed this like false kind of like personality. Like I just developed this like
Mm.
image of like, okay, everybody else is going out, so I've got to grab something, I've got to become something else to actually get out there, to look like I fit in, right? So then I
Yeah.
became the Joker. So I became the Joker. I became the people pleaser. I became the entertainer. It was like, and whilst all of that, I also had this constant knot in my tummy, like even to sleep, at night, I would like, sing to get myself to sleep because I love to sing.
Oh.
And that's what took me to sleep. Or, I would have to know, because we had like a 3-bedroom house. So I would have to know what time my sister was coming to bed. And then I would count the minutes, before
Wow.
she would come up to bed because I was on my own. Right. So it was all of that. And what I got really to see was that I started to contract and get smaller and smaller, and my life got smaller and smaller. And then it was like just walking around like this, you know. And then
Mm.
my body started to show, as I got through my teenager years, my body started to show pain. There was a lot of pain in my legs, and like my mother used to say to me, oh, they're just growing pains. And I just knew they weren't. And then at
Mm-hmm.
21, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. Actually, it was before I was
Wow.
21. I think it was like, I remember going up the stairs one day and I actually could not walk up the stairs. but I was riddled. This is how I would best describe it. I was riddled with anxiety. Like it was everywhere. And like I started to like get real like sore in my joints. And even when I went to the doctor and he was like, oh, you've got rheumatoid arthritis. And it was so funny because in the doctor's that time, like he actually like was like lighting up a cigarette when I went in, and he was smoking and he was telling me like, you've got rheumatoid arthritis. And I remember looking at him going,
Wow.
oh my God, he smokes in here. Like it was so nothing to me, you know. I was like so much at ease that he was choosing that, you know, and he was being him. And
Wow.
so when they diagnosed me with that, I was like, still at that age, it was like, okay, then I've got this. So this was another label, another definition. And then I just became all of those definitions. People would like, I would look for outside validation from people to tell me, you know, you're so funny, you're so hilarious. Another label. Okay, I'm doing okay, you know, and that
Yeah.
was
Can
how,
I
yeah,
go ahead?
no, go
Well, I
ahead.
wanted to ask a little bit about that, because that you have these personalities, you become the duo. So did that actually, at being one of the best tools you had at the time, did it create some space for you, or did it actually create more anxiety?
It actually created more anxiety. And now what I know
Wow.
now is like, I wasn't being me. And then
Yeah.
I found like this one friend that me and her got to be, and she's still my friend. I met her at
Oh.
13. And me and her, like, she was having some of this go on too. We never talked about it, but we laughed, and we laughed a lot.
Oh.
Every time we laughed, it was like, oh. And it wasn't that like pretend laugh. It wasn't the laugh for the show. It was just
Yeah.
me and her walking home from school together, and we would just laugh at the most. Like, we'd make up our own jokes. We would like pretend we were like superstars. We were movie like in Hollywood, and we would just have so much fun. So much fun. And we actually still do
Wow.
that today and have so much fun, you know?
That's amazing. Wow. So what would you say was your turning point?
Wow, when I had my first child. So I
Wow.
got married at 27, and then I had my first child at 28. I think I got pregnant just after I was turned 28. And when she came, I remember being pregnant on her and actually saying, I can't be like this. I can't be like, I'm having a baby. Like, I can't be like this. And I was actually nervous through the whole pregnancy. I had a lot of sickness, a lot of
Mm.
pain. I actually didn't even go out that much. It kind of suited me that it was winter and it was like snow and stuff. So I was like, okay, I don't have to go out now.
Yeah.
And then it was like, you know, she came along, and then I was looking at this little being, and I was like, oh my God, like I knew how to like, you know, change nappies. I knew how to do all that because there was so many kids and, you know, nieces, nephews, grandchildren. So I knew all of that, but I didn't know how to be with her, you know?
Yeah.
And like, then it got to the OCD of trying to be the best mom, trying to be the right mom, trying to be the perfect mom, trying to not bring my past into her world, not rub off on her, that she would turn out like me, right? So then there was all of
Yeah.
that. And it became like I was so tired. I was so tired. It really got to that place where, you know, I became like obsessed with cleaning the house so that she wouldn't get an infection or she wouldn't get like, you know, sick. So then I was like 2 o'clock in the morning, down on my hands and knees, scrubbing the cooker that I barely cooked in, that was barely had any dirt on it. And I was just like
Wow.
trying to get everything right. So that was something that I knew, and you know, that wasn't going to work. I knew it wasn't going to work, but I still chose it. Um, and then I started to get little glimpses of, oh my God, I just wish that I didn't actually do this. I just wish that I could just be here with her. And then I started to sing to her. And when I would sing to
Ah.
her, everything would just be like, Nora Jones was the one that I used to sing to her all the time. And she
Mm.
sings to it now today. And like, yeah, it's so funny because then I started to get more ease as she got older, then it was like afraid in case she'd fall, afraid in case
Yeah.
anything would happen to her. And maybe about 2.5 years later, I had my second child. And that was really when it was like, she came in and she was like, I'm not having this. You've got to change. And like, I knew it. I knew when I was pregnant on her, the change was actually happening while I was pregnant.
Wow.
And knew, I was like, this is it. This is where it's all gonna, this is the start. And when she came in, it was like parenting completely changed for me. I eased off. I still had that worry thing going on. I still had the anxiety stuff. How did I look to people? Then it became about being at the school. How did I look at the school? How was my body looking to people? How did people see me? Was I like ticking the box? Was I fitting in? And it became like bigger and bigger, even though I was starting to become a little bit more ease, but this was starting to get bigger right in front of my face, which now I know is like, when something is desiring to be changed, it will show up like in your face. And
Yeah.
that's, I really started to look at a different possibility. I started to, go kind of like to, different counselors. And then I started to explore an energy work. And I started with Reiki, and I got to access a little bit of space. And once my body got to access that, it was like, more. Let's have more. And I started to have fun with my kids then. And it was, yeah, when the fun came in, it was like, oh, you can do this? You can actually have fun with your kids.
Wow.
And yeah, it all started, little bits of change started there. And then, of course, I was in a marriage at the time, and my husband had a business. So we were invited to a lot of, business parties and, Christmas outings, and there was many of them. And it had gotten to that place where I would get ready to go there about a week in advance. And then when the time would come to go, I just wouldn't go.
Because the anxiety, like all the what ifs coming up.
Yeah. The what ifs, what will people think of me? How will they see me? And it was then this energy of checking. If I did go, I would check myself so many times,
Wow.
because, and it was really like I was on all of the time. And that's like really tiring. It's like,
It's tiring not to be you.
that's a meme. It's tiring not to be you. I love it. Yeah, totally. Totally.
Well, and I love in both, like you kind of spoke to it in two different examples where when you got to the fun and the laughter and the play, you
Yeah.
had more space. And with the compacting, the anxiety, and it compacts and it compacts and there's so little space, and it's exhausting to be functioning from there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you start access, you start to get more space, okay, and now how are you now? Does anxiety still show up for you? Is it a thing in your world? What is that like?
It's funny, right? Because like what I notice is that my body knows the energy. My body knows
Mm,
the energy of anxiety. So if now I have the tools of access, and like when I had my bars run first, it was like, oh my God, like what is this?
yeah.
And the girl that actually ran my bar, she contacted me the couple of days after, and she was like, how are you? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, it's really weird. And she was like, is that space? And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, is there more space in your life, in your world? And I was like, yeah. And then like what I got to see was that like the more space that came in, the more ease that I had. and then the more fun I was having. And then like the judgment started to just go. It's just started to leave, right? So then I started to use the tools. And one of the biggest things for me was starting to connect with my body. And I started to read the Right Body for You book by Gary Douglas and Daniel Carter. And I was like, okay, as I was reading the book, I started to see where I didn't have that connection to my body. I didn't have, a communication with my body. It was like, this was my body and this was me. But actually my body was just there, right? So then I started to communicate with my body and ask my body. Now, it was weird at the beginning because I was like, why would you ask your body? But one of the biggest questions for me that totally opened up the space was when I would meet people or before I would meet people, I would start to perceive the energy of the anxiety, that familiar energy. And my go-to question was, okay, body, what are we aware of? And then boom, totally different space, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Totally
And
different.
and I want to highlight for people listening that you said even before you would meet them. Because some people think, no, it was like before I even met them for the first time. It was like hours before, like as if it couldn't possibly, you and your body couldn't possibly be aware of something that hadn't occurred yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you see, that's the thing, right? And then I learned that I actually have a capacity to tap into the future. So like, and it's not like, no, I'm not like crystal ball or psychic or, well, I am psychic, but I'm not like crystal ball and I can tell your future kind of thing, right? But I have the capacity to actually tap into the future. So if somebody asked me to go to a party, I had the capacity to tap into the energies that were going to be at this party, the energies of the people that were there before the party, the energies of the people that were there probably many parties before, and I would tap into all those energies, right? Thing about it is, once I had this question, I was like, okay, body, what are we aware of? We, right? And my body would actually, like this sigh of relief would come in, and my body would be like, oh, thank you, sister, you asked the question.
Wow.
And that came from me starting to connect with my body, knowing that my body had a consciousness of its own. And to ask a question, my body was actually going to give me the energy of what we were aware of, the information, right?
Yeah. So
And
then
we tend, go ahead.
I was going to say, then that sensation of like anxiety, once it gave you the information, did that leave?
Totally. Right. It would, and Cassie, like, I mean, a millisecond.
Wow.
Body, what are we aware of? Boom. Expansion, space, boom. And I would be like, oh my God. And then, like, if it started to come in again, I was like, okay, body, what are we aware of now? And the tool, who does this belong to, was a tool that I played with for a long time. And I would be like, this tool is not for me. I don't think it's for me. I don't get it. It's not working. Right. But actually, when I started to communicate with my body and then go, body, okay, what are we aware of? Then that tool started to come into play a lot easier. Right.
So for people that have never heard of that tool before, could you give a brief description?
So really for me, it's like, when you have like thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So sadness, you have this like thought over and over again, oh my God, like I feel so guilty, or I'm gonna die, or whatever that is, right? Somebody doesn't like me. So it's like, when you actually start to perceive, when you start to think like that, it's like, okay, who does this belong to? Is this mine, someone else's, or something else? And it's like when I even ask the question, who does this belong to? Is this mine? And then I get like heavy. Heavy is always a lie, right? And it's like, okay, no, not mine. Someone else's. Oh, that person there, whoever, right? And it's not about like, oh, it's hers, it's his. It's not like that. It's not like a blame game, but it's actually creating a communication with your body and being present with your body. Because like when we're going into thinking, we're not being present, right? So for me, I was like a head tripper, like thinking, always thinking that if I thought and thought some more, I would fix it, right?
Wow.
But you can't fix what's not yours. And that was like the biggest thing for me, that 99% of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are not even ours. We are like, you know, antennas picking up on all these frequencies, picking up on all of these, like I always say, like different radio stations. But actually, just because we are aware of it doesn't mean we are it.
Meme.
Right?
That's a meme. Yeah.
Like, what did I say the other day? Somebody said to me, I'm aware, therefore I am. And I was like, what? Like, it's so interesting, you know, like even to look at that, I'm aware, therefore I am. It's like what you're aware of, you are. Like if that was the case, we would be like so
Insane.
so busy trying to fix every awareness or trying to fix everything that's coming in. And actually, then when you get to hear 99% of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions are not yours. So the tool, who does this belong to? For every thought, feeling, and emotion. And like Dain Heer has an app. It's a free app. You can get it on your phone. Who does this belong to? You can set a timer on the app. And like this will ping. And nine times out of 10, you could be in a thought or a feeling or an emotion, and this will remind you to ask the question. Now, when I played with the app first, I had it on the, I don't know how you say that, but I had it on the one that was going off very often. So I picked the highest one. I was like, give me all of it. Give me all the goods.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're like, I'm changing this. Yeah.
All of it.
And for those, I know some of the people watching this, they know Access Consciousness. They played with some of these tools. Some of them are going to be brand new, but maybe some of you that have played with that tool, I love that you're offering this other piece, Sue, with having that body communication and actually having that true connection and communion going on with this tool. It has a different expansion to it, really.
Totally. And it is what works for you because,
Yeah.
you know, I knew that there was something else required to get me to actually to get me to that tool. Because every time I went there, it was like, no, there's something else. And it was like, then when I started to ask my body, hey, what are we aware of? That opened up the space for this other tool. And like with Access, you know, and I know, it's question, tool after tool. There's so many of them. Like, and also when you commit to using the tools, when you commit to actually becoming the tools, plain sailing. It's living. Just
Oh my
saying, like
goodness.
it's living. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Can I
living.
just share
It's so
something else?
beautiful.
Because I know you're going to go
Yes.
to it and I really want to get this piece in because it was one of the
Okay.
major pieces for me as well. So you mentioned that I'm a Right Recovery for You facilitator, which is it's a body of work created by Marilyn Bradford. And she's a Right Recovery for You facilitator. Now I am as well. But one of the things that really shook it up for me was in regards to addiction. And most people will talk about addiction and they talk about, you know, sex, you know, gambling, drugs, alcohol, you know, food, right? So these are the ones that people actually will talk about in this reality and, you know, acknowledge that they are addictions. There's also many other addictions, and addiction to being right was the biggest one for me, right? The thing about it though is that when you connect to your body, all addiction falls away.
Wow.
And that is it's a process of committing to connecting to your body, committing to asking, committing to honoring your body. And what I noticed for me is that also there was a food thing there for me. What I noticed for me is that when I connect to my body and I become really present, for me, I'll always put my hand, you know, goes here, and then I'll put my other hand like on my lower tummy, and I'll just ask my body, hey, what are we aware of, body? Right? And sometimes I'll just close my eyes and stand where I am and say, what are we aware of? Is this ours, someone else's, or something else? And like, I really get to see 9 times out of 10, it's not mine. It's not that my body is desiring that food. It's not that my body desires to have 10 drinks. Because there was a time that like I was so riddled with anxiety that I was drinking, I was drinking every night. And it was like, that was my getaway. That was my hideaway. And then it would ease it for me. But that was just like, it was either I'd run to a behavior of maybe anger, or I would run to like a substance. And the thing about it is that like the substance can be food, it can be drugs, it can be anything, whatever substance, does it for you. But when you connect to your body and you start to communicate and get present with your body, you will start to see that the addiction falls away, that you won't require to actually go outside of you to get that relief.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that relief from whatever it is, it could be anxiety, it could be depression, it could be, there's so many things. And I think a lot of people are looking for that relief rather than the change where you don't need
Wow.
relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how, this is such a powerful conversation and such a very different conversation with all of this stuff. I definitely think we could talk so much more about it. And we are starting to get to the end of our time. Could you talk a little bit about, so Right Recovery for you, what has it created for you? And yeah, there we go. Let's just go there.
Yeah, totally.
I'm like, that was a big one.
You know what? Right Recovery for you, it definitely got me to go that extra mile with what was required for more communication and connection to my own body. It really, choosing to become a Right Recovery for You facilitator, it's not like you just do the course, right? You attend it, you're actually in class, and it's like you get to like recover the parts and pieces of you that maybe got lost in the way or got hidden. You get to recover those parts and pieces of you, the difference that you be, like nobody else, right? You get to discover the new parts and pieces, because we're always changing, right? You get to discover the new parts and pieces. And actually, sometimes that can be like uncomfortable. And it was uncomfortable for me to start uncovering parts and pieces of me that were maybe hidden since I was like 6, 12, whenever that was. And then as I started to use the tools and making peace with my body, that's when I actually got to really have the ease of, hey, Sue, you're actually different. And are you willing to actually ride the wave as the difference that you be here? And it's like, now I get to see the change with my children. Me showing up as my difference allows them to show up as their difference. And it's like, wow, what a great variety to live in a world where everybody shows up as their difference. How much fun is that?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So there's plenty of intros with the Right Recovery for You. There's intro classes that Marilyn has done, and there's other Right Recovery for You facilitators that we do intro classes. Having you in relationship is one of them. It's actually making you a priority in relationship. And the other one was making peace with your body. Yeah, I know, right? So these are all places that we actually hide ourselves, because we get into a relationship when we're like, the person is like, oh, you. And then you choose each other, and you choose each other for who you be. And then you start to change things, because then you're in a relationship and it's like, oh, hang on, I just cut off some pieces of me there so that I can fit into this relationship that we are.
Yeah.
Right.
It almost reminds me when you were talking about everyone was going out. So you created this, I'm the funny one. So you're kind of doing this in relationship. Like I'm the one of the relationship that does this. And you create all these. Yeah. Wow.
Definitions. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
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 And
so
like,
okay.
go on. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So there's so many different like parts and pieces to these intros, and like these intros like are like 90 minutes. And I just get like, the last one that I had was the making peace with your body. And it was like we got to do like these like kind of like expansion exercises within the actual intro. And, even just like asking people, do they even know they had a body? And the surprise on people's faces that when I asked them the question, it was like, yeah, it was like this energy of like, yeah, I kind of knew it was there, but now it's like, do you know you actually have a body? Do you know that your body has a consciousness and you can actually speak with your body?
Beautiful.
And it was just amazing just to see how people, even after that one intro, you just see people like are like, okay, so it's okay for me to ask my body what it wants to wear. Instead of going in and, most people are functioning from looking right and looking good, or wearing those clothes that make you smaller on top or smaller on the bottom. And, but it's like, what if you could actually open your wardrobe and say, okay, body, what do you desire to wear? Sometimes it might be uncomfortable because your body might choose something that's like, that you might go, that. But what if you wearing that was going to add more ease to your day?
Yeah.
So there's a lot in the Right Recovery about trusting you and trusting your body, connecting with your body, which really for me, Cassie, has changed so much for me in regards to reaching outside of myself, to get the quick fix.
Yeah.
So it's actually built a relationship with my body where I'm like, okay, hang on a sec. I have my body. I can ask my body.
That is so beautiful. And you're such an inspiration, Sue. I know I haven't personally struggled with anxiety, but I know people they would call it crippling. And to go from that place of everything you shared with us to this, and I mean, when I said leader of possibility, because that's how I perceive you. I see you on Class Creations. I see how you show up, like, and someone with extreme anxiety, even being on a Facebook Live like this would probably have a very difficult time. And just showing up as you and the greatness of you, I'm inspired, and I would love more people to get in touch with you. We have Sue's links in the description, so if you want to check out, maybe you want to take an intro class with her, or with Right Recovery for You, or anything. She does more than just that. She's an Access Conscious certified facilitator, so you play with a lot of different possibilities.
A lot of possibilities, absolutely. And one thing I will say, I know we're going to finish, but one thing I will say is like, if you have somebody, or if you find it, or if you get on and find someone that runs bars, like if you're someone on here and you're watching this and that anxiety is going on for you and it is crippling you, it is contracting your life, it is like, what am I going to do? I'm existing, not living. Try a session, really. Even if you just say, do you know what, I'm going to take a chance on something different, because if you're looking to create something different, you got to be willing to choose something different. And it's like, just reach, just reach. And like, I know for me, bars is like an honoring to my body, an honoring. And the body work and Access has like dissipated so much PTSD from my body that now, like, I walk and it's like, I know my body is aware of what's around. So I don't have to be scared of my shadow anymore.
Oh, I love it so much. Oh, so beautiful. Yes. Okay. This was such an amazing conversation. I'm sure I'm going to have you on again to talk more, because I sense that there's
Totally.
more. But we're going to jump into our greatest show game. I'm about to, right now, I'm going to text Sue. I'll do it in the WhatsApp thread. Your possible questions. So the game we're playing today is called the Whisper Game. So here's how the game works. One person is going to put on headphones and they're going to play loud music so that they actually can't hear the conversation. Then the other person's going to read one of these sentences that we have. And the person who's wearing the headphones, listening to the music, has to guess what they say. The object is to guess as many sentences in 2 minutes, and then we'll switch around. Sending you questions here. My laptop's being very slow. Okay. So Sue, because you're my guest, you get to have the first turn. So you're gonna put on your headphones. You're gonna what song did you pick again? What song did you pick?
Play that funky music.
Right. Okay. So give me a thumbs up when you. Oh, let me get the timer. So if you get it right, I will cheer, and then I'll do the next sentence. Okay, and we'll see how many we can do in 2 minutes. Yeah. All right. Okay, great. So play your music. Timer's going. Never give up. Never quit. Oh, sorry. Never give up. Never give in. Never quit. Never give up. Guys, just so you know, it's harder than it looks. Never give up. Never give in. Never quit.
Never give up, never give in, never quit.
Yay! Unicorn.
Is it my turn now?
No, we keep going. But you did good.
Go on.
Unicorns are my favorite corns. Unicorns are my favorite corns.
I know the first word is unicorn because I heard it. Unicorn.
Unicorn.
Say it one more time for me.
Unicorns are my favorite corns.
Unicorn is my favorite corn.
Yes! Don't fight this reality. Create a new one. Don't fight this reality. Create a new one.
The first word is don't.
Timer. It was don't fight this reality, create a new one.
Oh my God. And you kept sticking. So I was like, I got don't. And then I was like,
Rap, rap, rap.
Well,
that was awesome. You did good. Okay,
I love that
game.
I'm going to play that with my kids. They love it. Yeah. They're 17 and 14.
Oh, they will. It is harder than it looks. I love people are. Maureen, were you guessing The Greatest Showman, or should I play that song? Maybe I'm going to play that song. Yeah, you guys at home can guess too. Have fun with us. Well, I guess they can see though. They can't guess because they can hear. So that's cheating. Okay. All right, I'm going to switch headphones and then I'll give you a thumbs up when my music's playing.
Okay. am I, and what grand and glorious adventures can I have? Who am I?
Do it again.
Okay. Who am I?
Who am I?
And
And you're good. What?
grand.
Oh, grand and glorious. Am I gonna have?
Oh, that's so much fun. You. Oh. Are you ready? Yeah. You are so beautiful.
That's funny because I got you are. I don't know if you can hear me. You are, and then it was gobbledygook.
So beautiful.
Again.
You are so beautiful.
Beautiful?
Yeah.
No? Magical? Whoa!
Oh my God, that is so much fun. You got it. You got it.
You're really good at enunciating. Like you.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was like, yes.
Yeah, but you're really, really, really good at picking up the energy because I delivered the information before I sounded it. So that's another one of the tricks. Yeah.
That is, you know what? I'm going to do that next time too. Thank you so much, Sue.
Oh, thank you. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you so much.
Me too. I adore you. And thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you next week on The Greatest Show. Yay!
Thank you, everyone.